lot of lessons I've learned with becoming a minimalist and after being a minimalist over the past 6 years of being a minimalist is the fact that you do not need to declutter everything you own or everything you have, period. You do not need to declutter everything. I can tell you right now, there are so many things that I personally got rid of that I wish I still had till this day. There's certain pieces of jewelry I wish I had. There's certain clothing items. That's a big one. There's like a lot of dresses that I got rid of that I wish I would have had right now. So needless to say, I ended up decluttering a little too much, and the whole minimalist, like owning less and having one item for each thing, yeah, it got to my head. And that's a valuable lesson I have learned, because I feel that when it comes to minimalism in general, it shouldn't be like, you know, to live in this empty household. It shouldn't be that way. You know, each item, yes, you should like, but there's also items that it's okay to put in a box and save for a rainy day, and then you can go through them. If you are feeling a little iffy to get rid of those items, obviously is some kind of sentimental value with those items, so just put it in a box, put it away, go through it another day. You do not have to put it on the side of the street with a free sign. Trust me, I wish I can go back in time and get some stuff back, because I miss a lot of those items I had gotten rid of. You guys see my background all the time. It does look very aesthetically pleasing, but for me, you guys, I don't go about this look anymore. I live with my boyfriend. I've been living with my boyfriend for the past 2 years, and our styles are similar, but we're also very different. My boyfriend loves color. If he could add a little pop of color into the living room or even in here, he would. And you have to compromise. So like I said, the aesthetically pleasing Pinterest vibe isn't for everybody, and it also isn't realistic. Do not get me wrong, I love Pinterest, like more of like a brainstorm app rather than like, oh, let me copy this photo and make it exactly like Pinterest. So I don't know where this whole aesthetically pleasing minimalist vibe started, but it definitely had me in a chokehold when I had my first apartment. You guys could even go back to my old videos and see like the vibe that I was going for, and it's very calm spa-like vibe. And what happened to all of those aesthetically pleasing items? I ended up falling out of love with all of it, and I gave it away. I mean, you live and you learn. I was young as well. People don't understand that some aesthetics cost a lot of money to keep up with, such as plants. I had over 60 something plants because I wanted that nice jungle peaceful vibe in my living room, and all of those plants needed to be repotted. They needed new soil, they needed new pots. It's an expensive hobby. Do not be fooled by what you see. This is literally the only aesthetic pleasing situation. I mean, this doesn't even look like this every day. Obviously, I make the bed for filming, but half the time I do not make this bed. We have a treadmill in the middle of my bedroom, dishes piled up on the sink. Our dishes don't even match because we're just trying to save money. We just grabbed a bunch of random dishes from people. Yeah, our chairs are falling apart in the kitchen due to Milo. He's back there now. He ripped apart the chairs. So the whole aesthetically pleasing vibe is out, okay? I finally realized that realistic vibes are far better, and they also cause less stress. So you're not always craving that perfection or that perfect photo or that perfect home. It's just fine the way it is. This is something that I struggle with till this day. I would have never purchased that Cadillac back in the day, and I didn't purchase it. I was actually doing payments from a horrible, horrible dealership, so I got screwed. But with that being said, I constantly live in the past purchases, you know, the mistakes I've made, and I always think like, oh, I try to tally up the numbers, and if I didn't purchase that, I would have had this much money. If I would have kept this car, I would have had this much money. Like, at the end of the day, we're not in the past, and that's something that I had to like come to my senses about and realize, like, Kiera, live in the future, Focus about the money right now that's coming in, even if it's a little bit, and just focus about mindful spending and what you're doing instead of what you used to do. So I constantly have to give myself a little bit of a reminder to stop thinking about past purchase mistakes, because it gets you nowhere. Unless you're trying to tell someone a story, trying to tell them, hey, don't go to that dealership, this is what happened to me, then sure, tell your story. It's no problem with, trying to help others with, what you've learned, but don't beat yourself up over like past purchases because it doesn't do anything for you but make you feel bad. And I feel like the state that I'm in right now is trying, hence the word, trying my best to think of positive things and try not to stress myself out, because I definitely do that. And especially with me being a Cancer, I am so emotional. You guys do not see that side of me, but I have a very, very emotional side. But this is one thing that I'm still working on. At least I acknowledged that I am learning to not talk about past purchase mistakes. If I don't talk about it as much as I used to, trying not to think of how much money I wasted and just think of how much money I'm saving now. I started to do this lifestyle. I picked up this lifestyle because the friends that I was hanging out with, I didn't want to end up like them. I didn't want to party anymore. I didn't want to I didn't have any parents to borrow money from. The people that I was hanging out with had mom and dad. They had, money, and I was brought up into a low income family. I just didn't want to keep making mistakes because I didn't want to end up like how my mom was living, paycheck to paycheck. I didn't want to end up like my friends that I was hanging out with, where they were just blowing money for no reason. So that's my journey, and why I decided to become a minimalist. It was basically just to improve my life in general, not just how many things I own, or how neutral colors, wearing neutral colors, or having a nice neat environment, or even having a bunch of money in the bank. It honestly has taught me so much more than that. It's taught me to take a step back and appreciate life without all the material things. And that was something that I really, really needed even back then. I used to think that material items would make your life better because I was brought up broke, and when my mom got her taxes, it was like happy days, and she would, take us on a little shopping spree. And I was, in my head back then at 15, I was like, oh, okay, so happiness is money and things. And then it totally switched when I became a minimalist. Happiness is not material items. Yes, we do need money to survive, obviously. I'm not stupid. But happiness is also being able to wake up every morning with a roof over your head. Being healthy. It's difficult, again, for everybody to understand what I'm trying to say because, like I said, everybody's journey is different. But to me, minimalism makes you appreciate the little things in life. So like I said, everybody's minimalist journey is different, and everyone's gonna have a story to back them up on why they became a minimalist. And I guarantee you, most of the time, it's not to do with owning less. It's usually a lot deeper than that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below, what lessons have you learned with adapting a minimalist lifestyle?